Hey, everybody, welcome back to 12 Days of PODMAS of Built Like This podcast. I am your host, Maxine, and we're on PODMAS episode 11. 11. Hello, thank you so much for tuning in. I am your host. I'm happy to be here. I'm happy you're here. I'm happy we're here. I'm happy we're about to close out this year together. So if you have been listening since the beginning of this year up until now, I am so thankful for you and I am grateful for the year to come and the more listeners that we will gather along the way. And I'm just grateful for the listeners that's been here for a while now. So shout out to y'all. And I so appreciate the messages that I receive just offhand. Like if you have my number directly and you listen to this podcast and if you message me, I thank you so much. So shout out to you guys for doing so. But yeah, I really appreciate that. Where do I want to begin for today's episode? Let's discuss. Let's kind of backtrack real quick. I know last episode was a lot, right? It's a lot to talk about cults for 2 episodes now in this series. In episode 8, I talked about a cult, and in episode 10, I talked about a cult. Now, episode 11, I'm about to talk another one. No, I mean, look, there are cults all around us. And I think as uncomfortable of a conversation that it is, it needs to be had. But I ended both episodes with not much of a guide to not be victimized into a cult. So, and I didn't leave a guide because I didn't have one to give, nor did I research for one necessarily. But I also kind of felt a little maybe defeated in thinking that there could be a guide, considering watching all of these cults and seeing how anyone is susceptible to it, just depending on the right person, the right time. So I don't know. But then I was talking to Freckles Bay about it, and then he just kind of made it clear to me because I mentioned how, they have engineers in these cults. Like these people are smart, but there's a difference between book smart and street smart, right? Having common sense and having book sense. And oftentimes we are so conditioned into being smart in this in the box for test type of way, and we fail to recognize when someone is conning us right in our face. But we know a square plus b square equals c square, right? It's like, okay, cool. It's great that you know the equation and the steps to complete said theory of this equation, all the mathematical terms, and you know how to write a strong essay. But if you don't know how to exercise, if you've never been taught to exercise your critical thought, then you can be susceptible to becoming a member of a cult. And what I did not get to talk about yet in the previous episode about the cult is that there were a lot of people who went against it, like as the cult Heaven's Gate were as they were recruiting for more members. They held a lot of less classes in different areas, so they came to different campuses or just different places that they'll have them, and it was an open session for anyone who's interested to come into their class, listen to what they have to say, and have an open panel of questions and commentary from the participants and the people who decided to come and attend their session. And in this clip, you see that there were a lot of people who were questioning them and challenging them and making them feel essentially stupid and idiotic for thinking the way that they did. And they kind of pointed out that, hey, all the things that you said as far as the whole I think Y2K, yeah, Y2K. No, Y2K didn't happen yet because this was in 97. But there were just some things that they said earlier on in their cult, like in the 70s, that didn't come into fruition. And someone called them out on that. They were saying how, why would you go about life doing this when you could just stick to Christianity? And that, that's fine to say that, and that's a challenge too, but I also kind of want to challenge that because it's like, well, everyone's allowed to practice whatever religion they want to practice. But look, I get the point that if this religion is leading you down a path of committing suicide or calling it to be an exit instead of suicide, like, I don't think that's a wise choice. Now, that's just my opinion. I know there are more not conversations really, but I've heard some people, like some podcasters that I listen to, and I'm not going to say who directly just because I don't want to be like a little too offensive when it comes to that. But I've heard some people say things like, well, you should have autonomy over your body. If I want to go ahead and check out now, why do I have to apologize for it? Or why is that seen as a bad thing? Let me out the way I want to be let out. And it's like, I mean, hey, maybe we will come to a point in our society when that is a conversation that is normalized and that action is normalized. I know under the circumstance of, oh, if someone's really ill, they will give the doctor or whoever is the direct next person in charge of that person's health to say, hey, I want to go ahead and go, I want to leave this realm. So sure, and that circumstance is different. But if you're not necessarily physically ill, going through a chronic disease that has not been at all letting up on you, then I don't think it's safe to go about normalizing, ending your life. I don't think it's wise to do that, especially because we have feelings that are fleeting. Our feelings are not always facts. Hell, they may not be facts at all because our feelings are oftentimes just influenced by whatever factor it is, like whatever external factor, whatever memory that is triggered. There are things that really impact us, and it makes our feelings come across flaky or unreliable. And I just don't think it's wise to make a permanent decision as ending your life, unaliving yourself. Now, we say that now on YouTube. To I don't think that's a wise choice to make. I don't know. So, but yeah, again, we have a subtle but growing movement I'm seeing and hearing of people trying to normalize that way of living or not living. So, but that's interesting. But anyway, I think there should be like some type of step you could take. But I think ultimately, what I'm saying, a step you could take, I'm saying like there is something you could do to prevent yourself from being a victim. But I think also there are so many cults around us that we don't recognize as cults because we think it's a good thing, as a cult will want you to think, right? Like the Democratic Party is a cult. But this example that they use in the doc, she said Democratic Workers Party. So one of the sociologists who was featured on the doc, she mentioned how in her child, or not even childhood, just in her earlier adulthood, she was a part of a cult, and she said it was a Democratic Workers Party, and it really pushed forward this Marxist movement. And so that's her experience with such. Now, there's Republican call. I'm not trying to only, like I've been getting at Democrats, right? But I think ultimately it's about recognizing it doesn't look one way. It's like you have to think outside the box. So just like we used to think pedophiles and rape, like everyone, who violates people on that level, we think of them as a dirty, someone who lives in the basement, pot belly appearance. Same with serial killers. We think that they look of that same aesthetic. But no, they're the guy next door, they're the girl next door. They look very approachable, and they have seemingly full lives, right? They may have a wife, a set of kids, they may be a deacon at the church. Like, you can't judge a book by its cover, really, like in every circumstance. Literally a book by its cover. I saw a tweet a few hours ago talking about these books. Y'all really read these books that look like this on the cover, and the cover looks like very cartoonish and just kind of cheap in storytelling. It seems just kind of childish and immature in the way that the colors are super bright. The drawing of the characters look super just doodly like a doodle type of draw. So she was making the judgment, like, y'all read these type of books, and sure, you everyone has a right to judge people by their cover, but when it comes to books like that, you don't know what's inside. You don't know the contents of the story, and you could be missing out on an actually good story. So I say that to say, judge your neighbor. Judge your neighbor. Don't be so quick to dismiss them and think, oh, so and so would never. You never know. So I just think we should be very cautious of people around us, of people in general. And I hate to even push that type of attitude into the atmosphere. I'm just saying we really have to be protective of our mind. Y'all, it's really up here. I finally watched the movie The Matrix. Yes, I am how many years late since 99? I'm wait, how okay, so I was 8, then I'm 32. Like, was that 24? Yeah, that was 24 years ago. Yeah, 24. I'm 24 years late. Now, I've heard of the Matrix. I've heard of the whole red pill, blue pill. Um, but I never really understood, like, what are y'all talking about? Like, I didn't really know what y'all was talking about. I kind of picked two and two together based off of the context, but I really didn't know what y'all was talking about. So I finally know what y'all are talking about. And oh my gosh, my mind is blown. My life has changed. No, I think this is so apropos for me because I've been on an intentional span of being mindful of the words that I speak, the thought that I would have ruminate in my mind. Like I am now more mindful of it because I do recognize how much our words are spells, right? They're so if we are continuously speaking negatively about ourselves, and I want to just focus on ourselves, right? Like, I think sometimes we could get so encouraging to other people, and it's easy to do that. But when it comes to yourself and your own goals, at least for myself, I struggled with feeding that same positivity onto myself. But I've been better. I've been doing so much better as of late. So I really appreciate the movie The Matrix, the first one, written by a Black woman. Look it up. I think her name is Sophia or Sophie Stewart. She is actually the one responsible for The Matrix and The Exterminator. Black fact. Shout out to Godfrey, the comedian, for that. Black fact. I never said that before. Anyway, so the Matrix really focuses on how don't think you know, don't think you are, know you are. Don't think you know you know, right? Reality, simulation. Just watch it if you haven't, or watch it again if it's been a while. But it's really amazing, and I think it's so it's such a good message to be had, and it helps you to recognize how powerful we really are and how powerful the mind is. And if our mind is not right, if we find ourselves just down, what are we thinking about all the time? What are we consuming about all the time? And you'll be amazed at how much that correlates to your life. If you are constantly feeding yourself negative thought and watching negative things and just around negative people, of course you're not going to actually execute the goal that you've been thinking about. Of course, you're not going to actually revamp your resume like you've been wanting to. Of course, you're not going to reach out to the necessary contacts to push through with said goal that you have for yourself. Like, all of these things are because of your mind. So a man thinketh, so is he. All right, let's move on. That's like my little powwow talk. I'm so cool. Okay, so Dr. Jackie, please come into the office right now, Dr. Jackie. Um, Dr. Jackie is a doctor on the show Married to Medicine. She's only a doctor on the show. No, she's a doctor. We know her because of the reality show Married to Medicine. Married to Medicine is a reality show on Bravo TV, and she is one of the cast members on the show. She is one of the originals on the show. I used to watch Married to Medicine, but I think I got over it. I just couldn't relate to them. I think some of them they just came off a little snotty and snooty, and I don't know. Something about them just didn't make me feel connected. So, like, there are some, not to fixate on Black women, but there are some older Black women who I just feel like, I don't know. I don't know. But anyway, I watched the show in the beginning seasons. And I always picked up on how Dr. Jackie came off as this very condescending type of woman. Like she knows everything, lacks compassion, or just a genuine nature overall. Like I picked up on that from the beginning. But because of her work and the fact that she is an OBGYN, right? So with that title, there's this impression of, oh, she's gentle, she's caring, right? She's helping pregnant women give birth and have a healthy pregnancy and a healthy labor, and you would naturally have the impression that she is a caring, compassionate, gentle woman. Au contraire. And even with her physique, you may have that impression also. So it makes sense why one may think that. But you are quick to miss how subtle her condescension is and how subtle her rudeness and dismissiveness is. So I think I lost track of the show probably season 3, maybe season 4, maybe even no more than season 4. But yeah, I just couldn't do it anymore. It was just annoying. Okay, so there is a resurfaced clip of her having an interview with Dr. Heavenly, who is another cast member on the show. Dr. Heavenly is a doctor of dentistry. So it was actually Dr. Heavenly's YouTube channel. She is having Dr. Jackie on, and then Dr. Jackie goes on to talk about Black women in Black women being her patients, and I guess her experience with them directly. And she kind of breaks down on how Black women are too dramatic when it comes to their physical pain, which is so ironic. So ironic that she, a Black woman, would say such a thing. Well, let's go ahead and watch this together. And again, if you are only listening to me, I encourage you to subscribe to the YouTube channel and watch this episode and all the episodes of this PODMAS series, as well as the main podcast, which will continue in a couple of weeks in the new year. So let's go ahead and watch this clip so that we could just lay it on her ass, because my God, today. And the reason why I am so annoyed with it, because I have been someone back and forth in the hospital, just trying to consult with different doctors when I was going through my presumed endometriosis diagnosis. When I was going through my chronic disability, feeling chronic pain and always feeling like something was wrong. Not even always feeling, literally feeling something was wrong with my body, feeling uncomfortable, and always going back and forth with them, and still nothing was happening. So to have a black doctor, a black female doctor, come on screen talking about black women are dramatic, and it's like, girl, what are you talking about? But let's go ahead and see the foolishness in her comments. Let's go ahead and click this video.
Sometimes as African American women, we're a bit more dramatic, and that you go to the doctor and you complain and you complain and you complain, and you're not taken serious because you cried wolf the entire pregnancy.
That ain't me, boo. I don't know what you're talking about, but go ahead.
I didn't say you. I just said as African American women, we want to also make sure you're being serious with your doctor and not playing the game so I can take you off work. Because then we see you 25 times in the pregnancy. It's hard to believe that there's a true problem when there's a true problem.
So this is the foolery that she says, that she decides to say as a black doctor, a black female doctor. This is what she decides to say, completely invalidating black women and their experience being pregnant. And I will also imagine she's the same way when it comes to black women and any other physical transformation they're going through, right? So they don't even have to be pregnant. Maybe they are going through a chronic illness like endometriosis, and it's been very difficult to navigate. Why can't I, as your patient, come to you with this angst and this worry that something else is going on with my body and I don't know what to do about it? Like, aren't you the doctor here? Aren't you supposed to be helping me out, trying to figure out what's happening? So for her to just completely invalidate black women in this sense, I just find to be so infuriating, because I know how that feels. And considering how the stats are showing that, and I hate to believe these stupid stats, I really don't, because I feel like there is a agenda to put black women on this, oh, we are so downtrodden, yada yada yada, and I just don't think it's always true. But let's say the stats are true, right? Because I do have personal experience of not feeling validated in the hospital or by a doctor or two. So I know that is true in my experience, and I know I'm not the only anecdote. Got it. But I'm just saying, I don't think it's fair to say black women are dying, black mothers are dying after giving birth. And it's like, how? Tell me how. Have black women always been dying? Because we've been giving birth since the beginning of time. What are we talking? Why is black women the only one dying at childbirth? Like, that doesn't make sense to me. Maybe I'm ignorant to it. Leave it in the comments. Engage with me respectfully if you have supporting evidence to this quote unquote stat, but cut it out. Like, what are you talking about? I have so many black women in my life who has given birth and they've been fine. Like, they've given birth again and again and again. I just think we live in a society where there is an intention to make a certain demographic look weaker than they are, when in all actuality, black women are thriving. Black women are thriving, okay? We are getting paid well. We are supporting ourselves well. We are getting educated more and more. Like, we are leading the ranks. Like, we are doing well. All of a sudden, we can't give birth and live. Make it make sense. Since when? Since when? We've been giving birth and living. But let's just say that's true, right? So what Dr. Jackie is doing here is now continuing that cry of immortality, because she is invalidating the pain of a black woman, and which can lead to the untimely death of said black woman. So that what I do think that is what I do think is dangerous. But again, I just look again. I don't know. I don't know. What about white women? Suddenly every other race is more capable, more equipped to give birth and not die. But black women it's like I just think it's an agenda pushed by just racist white people or whomever, evil people who do not want to continue the black race or who do not want more children in this world. This is the agenda pushed by Bill Gates, by whomever of that upper echelon who would rather continue to reduce the society and the population that we're in. So hey, let's put this fear-mongering rhetoric of black mothers are dying at an alarming rate after giving childbirth just so that we can push this abortion agenda and make black women afraid to get pregnant and have children. We have to stop creating this scared, this unequipped mentality and physicality when it comes to bearing children. We are capable to bear children. We are capable to bear children. We are capable to give birth healthy and live with said child and support that child. Like we are, this is natural to us, you know? So the marketing of this abortion movement has been so sneaky, you know? So when we hear this, what's that black woman's name? Not Stacey Dash, the big one, the one from Georgia with the natural hair. I like her natural hair. I could never get my hair like that. No matter how much I try, it just takes too much gel. My hair will get flaky. It just defeats the purpose. I gotta wash it out anyway. Stupid. You know what I'm talking about. The black girl. What's her name? Black woman, big Georgia. Yo, I cannot figure out her name. Stacey Abrams. Thank you. That's it. I have to scroll down. It was a fourth headline. Stacey Abrams. I'm not fat phobic. That's the best way to describe her, to stand her out. But yeah, we are capable of giving birth. Okay. But yeah, Stacey Abrams was on some type of panel talking about black women are dying more and black women are, you know, this whole idea of us. What was she saying? She's saying something like basically we shouldn't believe the whole like time ticking or the clock is ticking type of push. How like, y'all, I can't remember. I talked about it podcast episodes ago. So circle back. If you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. But she did talk about something like, she was just encouraging the abortion rhetoric and encouraging more black women. Yeah, she was encouraging she was encouraging more black women than any other race, than any other ethnic background to get abortions than she was anyone else. Why is that? That is what I have a problem with. So you can miss me with the whole black women, black mothers are dying. No, they're not. How? Tell me how. I don't know any black woman in my life who are mothers who have died from giving birth. What I do know is my paternal grandmother, according to what my dad told me years ago, I don't know the details though, but I heard that she did die shortly after he was born. My dad's the youngest of his siblings. But I don't know if she died immediately after my father was born. You know, if there was a complication with that, or she was already having some health issues and she just so happened to die shortly after he was born. I don't know if he has early memories of her. I really don't think he does. And talking about like grief or anything sad with Haitian parents, it just doesn't happen. There's no room for that. So I don't really have it. I can only speculate, really. So I don't know. But aside from that, I don't know anybody else because it's not real. We think these things are real because of the media. They're lying to us. So shout out to the Matrix. Shout out to Freckles Bay. Shout out to Woke. Red pill me. It's like, hold on, I need to think about it. Hold on. Because red pill is you're awakened now, right? You realize that you're much more powerful than you are. You realize that you've been in a simulation. You realize that you've been fed to believe one reality when really there is no reality. What is reality? All this, it's like such a mind fuck. It really is. I feel like I need to watch it again. Or I think no, what I'm gonna do, what I like to do actually, I like to watch a breakdown YouTube video of the movie so I could understand what did I just watch again? You know, though I understand the concept of it and we talked about it as we watch. So that was great, but like I also need to like talk about it again. Like, hold on, what happened there again? So I like watching those like explained analysis of the Matrix on YouTube. So let's go ahead and do that for the night. Yeah. Anyway, let's go ahead and end it here. Tomorrow's the last day of PODMAS. Oh my gosh. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I will check in with you all tomorrow. Goodbye.